What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for Power Book 2. This is Power Book 2. I really don't understand the name of this show. Power Book 2 Ghost. Oh, okay. But the episode, this is season 1, this is episode number 6, and the episode is titled Good versus Evil, you guys. And without further ado, I hope you guys can hear me. I just realized I have my AirPods in. Without further ado, you guys, let's go ahead and just jump into this episode review, shall we? All right, you guys, so the episode, honest to God, I forgot what happened before in the mid-season finale. I do remember the last episode that Davis and Sax were working together to bring down Tariq, which I don't know if that's actually what Davis's plan is, but we'll talk about it nonetheless. So we see Davis, and Davis, he showed up to Sax's office in just regular street person clothes. And Sax was like, why are you dressed like that? Like, what's up? And, Sax, he was flipping out about that. So then the reason that they're meeting with each other is because they're getting ready to go to trial for Tasha. And it's jury selection. They're getting ready to pick the jury. And Sax has a board with photos of people that were, I guess, subpoenaed, sent those summons to come to jury duty, whereas Davis has it on his iPad. So then we see Sax and Davis, so they're in front of the judge, and the judge is like, the last time you two have been, anytime you two have been in the same room trying to do anything with each other, it goes to hell. So this jury selection, y'all got to get this shit together, or else, it's gonna be a lot of shit happening with y'all. So then we see them talking to the jury, interviewing people for jury, and the judge is looking like, what the fuck? Because they're picking people who look like Davis, but only nerdier a little bit. So it's a lot of black people. It's a minority jury. I think I saw maybe one white person on there, I think, but everybody else was black. I know there was a woman on there. I think there was a black woman on there. But the rest of the jurors are nerdy looking black men. And the judge is looking like, are you sure? You sure? And Sax and Davis are like, yep. And so then, once they pick the jury, Sax has been questioned by Steven, like, what the fuck was that? Like, look at that jury. You're asking for a mistrial. And then Paula is talking to Davis, like, what the fuck? Are we gonna, this is gonna be a mistrial? Both of them like, it's okay. It is what it is. Now Davis, like I said, he's talking to Paula. He's telling Paula that he wants to be prepped on Sax's first witness, which is 2-Bit. So then we do see Sax, he's talking to 2-Bit, and he tells him that, he basically wants him to come to court and get on the stand and, tell what he know. 2-Bit tells him, like, nigga, I'm not getting on no stand. Like, I know my rights. He said, oh, so you've been reading? He's like, yeah, I've been in jail. I ain't had nothing else to do, so shit. Thought it might come in handy. So he says, yeah, I won't get on the stand to say anything. Plus, I don't know anything. So then we do see Davis. So Davis is going to talk to 2-Bit. And Davis is telling 2-Bit, like, yo, I need you. Like, I can be your lawyer. I'll do this shit for free. 2-Bit is still saying no. And then, Davis has somebody there to help him. I'm like, who does Davis have? And then in walks Blanca Rodriguez. I was like, oh my God. Courtney Kemp. Can you just write me in for one scene? Give me a gun. Make sure the gun has 3 bullets in it. 3 bullets is all I ask, Courtney. 3 bullets is all I'm asking for. So I can shoot 3 people and kill them. I promise you, I'll kill them. Like, I'll just walk up to them, pop, pop, pop. Now, you guys might be asking, who are the 3 people that I want to shoot? Blanca, Milgram, and Reynolds. Those 3 people, I just want them off the show because I can't stand them. I can't even rank them on who I dislike more. Actually, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Blanca's top, Milgram is second, Reynolds is last. And that's the order that I would go in. Because I just can't stand her voice. And Two Bit is like, I'm not gonna work with no damn cop. She's like, I'm not a cop anymore because of Sax, and I want to take Sax down just like you do. I'm just like, oh god, that voice irritates me. So, let's see, where am I at? So what it is they want him to take the stand. What they're gonna do is they're gonna coach Two Bit on what to say on the stand. Cool. So then we see Sax. So Sax is talking to Steven, and he's saying that, basically what it is Two Bit wants immunity. So he'll get on the stand, but he needs immunity. But the thing is, the charges with him are both criminal and federal charges. So he needs Steven to help him with the federal charges. So Steven's like, okay, I'll make a call and see what I can do. So he does make a phone call. So then we do later see Sax. So Sax is talking to his niece, who I need, what, Courtney, add a fourth bullet, because Riley got to go too. Riley has to go as well. So yeah, add 4 bullets to that gun for me. 4 bullets for Riley, for who did I say? Riley, Blanca, Milgram, and Reynolds. 4 bullets for those 4 people. That's all I need. So Sax is talking to Riley. He's telling her that he needs her to stay away from Tariq and anybody that is associated with Tariq, i.e. Braden. Well, she says she can't do that because she's in love with Braden. He's like, you don't even know Braden like that. I'm like, oh God. Courtney, that gun is just looking better and better. Like, girl, give it to me, please. Like, that's all I ask. Write me in one scene, give me the gun, I'll kill those 4 people for you. Bam, bam, boom. And you can like me, you can have, well, shit, the cops are incompetent, so shit. Whatever. I'm gonna pause right here. All right, you guys, so we see Tasha. Now, Tasha is talking to Davis. She tells him that, well, they ask her, do she know Francis? She says, I don't know anybody named Francis. And Paula says, well, his street name is Two Bit. She's like, he worked for Tommy, but I don't know him like that. Like, I like saw him in passing, but we've never just actually sat down, talked to each other, and had a conversation with one another. So we do see. So we're in court. So Sax is on, has Two Bit on the stand, and Sax is questioning Two Bit. Now every question that Sax is asking Two Bit acting like he don't know shit. And I'm like, Sax, you don't realize that you're getting played like a fiddle? And then, so he did mention Blanca being a dirty cop. And then so Davis got up to talk to him. And, Davis was asking him, does he know his client? Has he ever met his client? No. But he says, or was it Sax? I think Sax mentioned Tariq. Yeah, Sax mentioned Tariq to him. He says, yeah, I've met Tariq before, I gave him a ride. So then when Sax sat down, Davis followed up on, some, questions about Tariq. So after the court was over with, we see Tasha. So Tasha calls Tariq, and this is actually at the end of the episode. Tasha calls Tariq asking if he knows anything about Two Bit. He says, oh yeah, that's that dude that worked with Tommy. He's like, I don't know him like that, but he gave me a ride. And so Tasha was like, does he know anything about anything? Ray, anything? Does he know anything? He says, I don't. He says no. So then we see Steven. So Steven goes into Sax's office. Steven is, however, pissed the fuck off about what happened in court with Two Bit, because Two Bit was able, he fucked y'all. Y'all gave him immunity. He got on the stand and he didn't say shit that you wanted him to say. So y'all fucked like Chuck. So yeah, Steven is just pissed the fuck off. And at this point, you can't take back that immunity because shit. He honored his part of the deal. He said he would get on the stand. He never said what he would do on the stand, but he did say he would get on the stand. All right, you guys, so I'm going to pause here and we're going to move on. All right, you guys. Now, like I said, I didn't remember a lot about what happened in the mid-season finale, but when I saw Braden call Trace, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Trace went into Tariq's and Braden's room and stole those drugs. So Braden is calling him about the drugs. So Trace comes down there and Braden was like, so you took the drugs? He's like, yeah, me and my homies, me and my friends, we partied up with it. I'm just like, what the fuck? You take somebody's shit, you snooping, number one, and then you take the shit and then you go and use it. Like, dude, at least sell the shit, at least make a profit from the shit. Rich, entitled white people. That's all I got to say. So Brayden is like, either you give me the shit back or you give me my motherfucking money. And, Brayden's trying to, rough him up, but Trace is, I don't know if Trace thought he was playing with him or not. But then Kane walks his high-headed ass in. And, Trace was like, yo, you got to get the fuck out of here. Like, this is between me and my brother. Until Kane pulls that fucking gun out on his ass. And that shut Trace the fuck up. So then, Brayden is trying to calm, Kane down. He tells him he knows who he is. Tariq told him. He's like, wait. Tariq told you who I am. So you know who I am. He was like, yeah. He was like, the product, all that stuff. We're partners. And, and he said, he did tell him that he didn't have the money. He's like, wait, so you don't have my money? He's like, okay, you know what? Y'all finna come with me. Like, get your shit, come with me, but leave your phones. So they walk out and you guys remember I think it was the last episode. I think it was the finale episode when Tariq was telling Brayden about the chessboard. You guys remember, everybody had their own individual little piece. Diana had her own piece. Drew had his own piece. Monet had her own piece, and so did Kane. Now, if shit just went left, just fuck up the whole entire chessboard. So that's what Brayden did on his way out. He threw the fucking phone, and all the pieces scattered. So then we see Kane. So Kane has taken them to, I think he took them to Brooklyn. I think that's where he took them. So he wants for Trace and for Brayden to move his product. I'm like, so you took two rich white boys to the hood to sell drugs. Either the niggas in the hood gonna think that they are cops and gonna try to kill these niggas, or I'm thinking to myself, like, this shit is gonna go completely left, especially with a motherfucker like Trace. That ain't gonna go right now. Brayden, on the other hand, he may be able to, weasel his way out of it, but Trace, he gonna crack under pressure. So what happened is Kane took them to different blocks. So he put Trace on one block and he put Brayden on another block. Like I said, Trace is a different type of motherfucker. Trace is gonna crack under the pressure. I just felt it. So Brayden, however, he took him to one block. There were three dudes outside. So Brayden walked up to them, he took out a blunt, and they were like, who taught you how to roll that blunt? He's like, he said something to the illusion that he already knew how to roll a blunt like that. So then he's like, my brother left me here with no phone, no nothing. He's like, I got a light. So Brayden is really actually kind of smart, although he gets on my nerves at times, but he's kind of smart. So Brayden starts smoking with the dudes, and the dudes, they like the weed. So he opens up his bag. He was like, so, y'all know how I can get rid, how I can sell this shit? They're like, yeah, we're going to call some people. Now, originally I was thinking, like, I feel like this is a setup by Kane. Like, is it, because I was wondering, is this they block, and are people going to realize that that's Kane's product? That's, not Kane, but Monet's product. So I was like, I was confused about that part. But, Brayden was able to sell the stuff. Now, let's talk about Trace. Trace, on the other hand, ain't able to sell shit. He was about to get his ass robbed. Because one dude came up behind him and knocked the shit out of him with a glass bottle. So Trace is just not here, he ain't good at it. So, like I said, Brayden showed his stuff. So Kane went back and picked him up. So they went to go get Brayden, and that's when they noticed what was happening with Brayden. And Kane was like, actually Braden wanted to get out and help him. Kane was like, nah, let him handle it. And Braden was like, but he's about to get his shit stolen, and you lose money. If I step in, get it, I can sell that shit for you like easily. So Kane was like, okay, get your ass out, help him. So then we do see, them riding around. Now, um, as they were driving, Kane, police sirens came on. I'm like, oh shit, who is this? So Kane pulled over. Now, when the cop got out, I'm like, oh, it's Ramirez. So Ramirez, tells Trace and Braden to get out the car and go to his car. So basically, Ramirez is trying to protect Kane because he said that some people called in about two white boys in the neighborhood slinging dope. So he tells him to head home. Um, Now, like I said, Ramirez has Braden and Trace in his car. He took them back to school and he told them basically with this, nothing happened. Like I should be taking y'all in, but with this, we're going to pretend like ain't shit happened. Trace, however, wanted to say, let's call mom and dad. And Braden was like, shut the fuck up. Nothing happened. Okay, so yeah, we got that part. All right, so we're going to pause here. All right, you guys. Now, we saw Tariq earlier in the episode. He was in class. He was on time for once. So Tasha calls him, and she was telling him about going to trial. And she was also telling him that, she wanted to take a plea deal, but Davis told her not to. And Tariq was like, well, why don't you just trust him? And she's like, oh, I guess I ain't got no other choice but to trust him. So then, everybody comes into class. We see Brushandria, who's played by brown skin Keisha, and everybody else came in. So they're having this discussion about, I forgot what they were talking about, but basically it's good versus evil, which I understood what they were talking about. We do things. We as humans, we do things. Sometimes it can be good, sometimes it can be evil. Which one? But ultimately, where do you fall on it? Good versus evil. I think that was actually a good discussion, to be quite honest with you, because there are things that we can do in this world that people could perceive as evil, but you can still be a good person. I feel like, and I'll give a good example. Like people see stealing as it's a bad thing. It's only a evil person would do some stuff like that. Steal or whatever. But you can still be a good person. Because you don't know why people do the things that they do. The only thing that I can say that's completely evil that you can't justify it, rape and murder. Those things you can't justify. But good versus evil, I think it's I think it could be a great area in certain situations. Like again, people could think, people could perceive someone who, like, let's say, for instance, in school, say I have a bully and my bully picks on me all the time, and then someone comes to my defense and beats the bully up. Well, that would be a quote bad or evil thing, but technically it's actually good because someone was defending me by attacking my bully. So that's how I feel about it. That could be that actually is a good discussion, though, to be quite honest with you. So Tariq asked Brushandria, where did she fall in? And Milgram was like, oh, well, you know what? Let's start the discussion. So I'm honest to God, I just can't stand Milgram. So Brushandria is giving her, her point of view, and then the little preppy white girl's giving her side of her point of view as well. And Lauren chimes in, and then Milgram asked Tariq where he stood, and then she says, you know what? Fundamentally, this is for the whole entire class. What are you? She asked the class, are you fundamentally good or bad? And like I said, that's a gray area. I do feel like that's a gray area, because certain things that could be perceived as bad might not always be bad. Like I said a few minutes ago, if a person, like say someone is, um, I'm trying to think of a situation. Okay, I'll give you guys a situation. It's don't judge me. So there was this season of Power Rangers where um, there were two people who got arrested because they were stealing, but in a grand scheme, they were stealing, but they were stealing to help people they were stealing food, by the way, stealing food to help people who were homeless. So would you say that that's good or bad? Yes, it's bad to steal, but like I said, in a grand scheme, they were doing it to help people who were homeless. Now, could they have gone about it a different route? Absolutely. They could have bought the food and given it to them. But again, it's just how you think. It's just where your moral compass is. Honestly, and that's actually what it is. It's our moral compass. What do we perceive? What do we really perceive as good, and what do we perceive as bad? Great discussion. Didn't want to go too deep into it. So we see later Tariq, he goes to Lauren's room to drop off something that she left in, dropped in class. So they're talking about this discussion once again, and she challenges him about what Milgram asked. But, and they were about to kiss each other, but knock at the door, and it's her boyfriend. And her boyfriend is, she forgot that he was coming there, and then he has been stalking her on social media because he saw that he had a screenshot of her at Tariq's party. And Tariq walks out, and he's like, "Oh, Jamal." He's like, "Nigga, my name is," I was about to say Jabari. I've been watching Girlfriends, you guys. I've been binge watching Girlfriends, and Tony, with the way she used to call Jabari, Jumanji, Jeep Cherokee, all of that shit. That's why that's why I was about to say Jabari, but his name is Tariq. But Tariq walks out, and Lauren's like, "Okay, Tariq, I'll text you later." So then we see Tariq. So Tariq goes to his room, and in his room, who's there? Riley. What is Riley doing? Going through his shit. And I'm just like, girl, you so stupid. Be inconspicuous, be incognito, be something, but don't be so fucking obvious. So, Tariq asks her, like, how'd you get in here? She says, well, when I got here, the door was already open. And she says, I was looking for Braden, but Braden's not here. Do you know where he is? He says, I don't know where Braden is. So then, what else? So she said, I was actually going to leave Braden. He said, why were we going through my stuff? She said, I was going to leave Braden a note. He was like, leave him a note? How old are you? I'm not going to say that. Because hell, I still leave notes and sometimes. But she was like, yeah, he was like, how old are you? No, he didn't. He said, why would you leave him a note when you can call him? She's like, yeah, I can call him. So then she calls him, and when she calls him, his phone rings in the room by the chessboard, and that's when Tariq is like, oh shit, he didn't say anything to her. So then we see Tariq, he's texting Drew, he's asking Drew where's he at. So then Riley, she's putting the pieces back on the chessboard, and she wants to play with Tariq. And, so Tariq sits down and plays with her. She says, can I ask a question? She says, nope. But she asks it anyway. She's asking him questions about Braden, but you're not, she might be good at chess, but you're not smart. Like, you're doing stupid stuff that'll get you caught. Like, really, really stupid. So like I said, she's grilling Tariq. I don't understand her. She's a pain in the ass, honestly. So, she apologizes to Tariq for drugging him. So then there's a knock at his door, and it's Diana there. And I'm going to explain a little in just a few minutes about the significance with Diana coming to the room. So Diana comes to the room to talk to Tariq. Tariq, goes out there in the hallway where Diana is, and she's like, so you got somebody else in there? He was like, it's nobody. She was like, is it Lauren? And that's when I'm like, oh, Diana is jealous of Lauren. This girl's dog drives me crazy next door. I really hope you guys can't hear that dog barking. So, Diana knows how Tariq is, moving the product at the school. So she says that she's going to tell Monet. He's telling her, no, don't tell Monet. So now inside, Tariq, I don't know why he felt the need to leave Riley by herself. you've called her more than once going through your stuff. Nigga, stay in there with her. The burner phone rings. She goes to get the burner phone and she takes a picture of the burner phone. And, I later saw in the episode that she sent the text message to Sax. I wish that dog would just shut up. The dog is barking at me, obviously. I'm sure he can hear me talking. So we see Brayden, so he finally makes it back, and he gives, Riley some bullshit-ass excuse about why he wasn't there. So Riley tells him that she wants him to come stay with her for the night so that he can go to brunch with her mom's the next morning. So, she leaves out, and Brayden tells Tariq what happened with Kane about him taking him to, Harlem, Brooklyn, whichever borough he took him to. And, he does that. He leaves, and so Tariq calls Monet, and Tariq is like, "Why did you send Kane up here?" And she's asking him about Brayden and Trace. She's like, "But I didn't send him up there." She says he went off on his own, which he really did. So then we see Monet. She's talking to Ramirez about Kane, and Ramirez is like, "You gotta put him on a leash or some kind of shit." And Monet said, "You know what? He's my son. He's Lorenzo's son. I'm Lorenzo's. Everything around here is Lorenzo's, not yours." And he's like, "You know what? The next time you need help with him, the next time you need some help, call him." I was like, "Ooh, shit, Monet. You finna fuck up your dick." But let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. So since we are talking about Monet, let's just go ahead and get their storyline out the way. So Monet, she called early in the episode. She called down Drew and Diana, and Kane was like, "Do you need help with anything?" She says, "No, we're going to the bar, to handle up on some accounting stuff and deal with some of the product." So they go down to the bar. Now, actually, before they get there, Drew and Diana don't want to go because they're like, "Why don't Al help handle that? That's what we pay him for." She's like, "I'm the one that pays Al, not y'all. So get y'all asses and come on." So Monet is talking to both Diana and Drew. She's like, "Y'all been acting so funny after going up there to that damn school." And Diana's like, "But you the one that sent us up there in the first fucking place." And then they were like, "And what about Zeke?" And she says, "Well, Zeke is the only one that I can trust right now because Zeke ain't in nobody's bed that I don't, and keeping secrets from me." I'm like, "That's what you think. He's having sex with his professor in a bathroom, in a restaurant. That's neither here nor there." And Kane got upset because he assumes that Diana is fucking Tariq. And she's like, "I'm not fucking him. And first of all, you're not my daddy." And she asked for, Drew to, to defend her. Drew didn't defend her. I'm like, "Damn, Drew, that's fucked up. You the one up there." I don't know what Drew doing. So I can't say what Drew's doing. I don't know what Drew and Everett are doing because, I know what they're doing, but I don't know who's doing who and who's doing what to who. But they doing something. They fucking, but I don't know who's fucking who. Who's fucking who, and who's licking who. I don't know. So once Diana and them leave, Kane went and got his gun, and that's when he went to go see Tariq. We already talked about that. So then we see Monique. So she's coming down on to Monet. Monet's coming down on Diana and Drew about, basically she's talking to them about work ethic, how they're spoiled, and she wants for one of them to count the fucking money, the other one, you finna just, help distribute this weight. So she takes their phones away from them, and with this scene, I was like, what kind of parent does that? Anytime my mama took anything away from me, she never left it somewhere where I could just easily get it. She took their phones and put it right in front of them. Now, if my mama did do that, if she did put something in, in plain sight where I could get it, she was testing my black ass, and I knew it. She would be testing me because she was so weird. Because it took me a few years. It took me some years to figure out what she actually. It didn't take me that long to figure it out. Because she took something from me once before, And I'm like, if I was my mama, because I was trying to figure out, like, if I do this, how is she gonna know that I didn't, that I, she took my phone once before. She took my phone. She took a lot of shit from me. And then the biggest thing was, she didn't take it from me, but when I got my first car, she told me not to drive it. It was, she told me not to drive it because I only had a learner's permit at the time. So she was like, "Don't take the car." I'm like, "Yeah, I got you." Took the car. Took the car and drove it around, the city. I'm from a small town, so took the car, drove it, and I parked it back in the driveway. She's like, "You took the car?" I'm like, "No, I didn't." She's like, "Yes, you did." I'm like, "No, I didn't." She's like, "How?" I'm like, "How would you know if I took it?" She said, "Because I parked it a specific way that I know that you took it." I'm like, "Nope. It's parked the same way that you parked. It was been parked." But I was lying to her. So yeah, she would do that. She would position things. It would be the way she would position shit that she would know if I took it or not. I'm like, damn, you're smarter than I thought you were. But yeah, Monet left the phones right there in front of them. I thought that was stupid. Now, Drew's phone is, however, going off, and Drew goes to look at his phone, and it's Everett texting him talking about they need to talk. I'm like, Drew, why would you be talking to him after the way he just dissed you at that party? Ain't no way. So, like I said, Drew and Diana, she's counting the money, he's cutting the brick. His phone, however, still going off. Excuse me, y'all. Diana was like, damn, somebody's thirsty. So Drew now wants to go see Everett. And Diana was like, what the fuck? Like, that nigga didn't want to claim you at the party. So why you want to see him? And then you got Kane thinking that I'm fucking Tariq. He's like, well, you want to? She's like, no, I don't. First of all, Tariq don't like me like that. And I don't like him like that. I'm like, Diana, you lying like a motherfucker. So then we see Drew. Drew is either dick whipped or ass whipped. I don't know which one it is, but he's whipped. So he texts Everett telling him that he's coming. Diana says, no, don't go. Like Monet said, don't leave. Drew ain't listening. So then we see Drew. He goes to see Everett. So Everett opens the door and Drew wants to talk to him. Everett wants to finish their conversation. He's like, what are we trying to finish here? Like, you dissed me at the party. He's like, well, I'm not the only one that's, kept any secrets. He's like, you didn't tell me that you were, what is that nigga's name? Zeke's cousin. He's like, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Like, Zeke is gonna be cool. As long as you passing him the ball on the court, he good with it. And then, he says, the issue is that you're not comfortable with being gay. He says, it's not that. He says, he wants to go pro. And I understood what he was saying. I didn't understand that part because it is a sad fact that, if a man comes out as gay in any of the leagues, he's pretty much kissing his career goodbye. Like, look at the likes of Michael Sam. He played for the Dallas Cowboys, but he hasn't played anything since. And then that college basketball player, Derek Gordon, he came out. He didn't go pro. Because I think when he came out, because actually he and I are the same age, we were actually in the same year of college. So he was a junior when he came out, and I was a junior at the same time when he came out the closet. And he didn't go pro. I think he is playing overseas. I mean, I know you're making more money overseas, but I know most people who play basketball, football their entire lives, their dream is to go to the pro, in the States. So, I mean, I got where he was coming from. So then, Everett and Drew started making out with each other. I'm like, oh, so y'all gonna go fuck. Yep, exactly what they did. So after they fucked, they sitting there talking, and Everett got a text message about his course, his tutor. And that's when Drew figured out how Tariq was moving away. So then we see Monet. So we're back to where Diana is, and she's upset about the fact that Drew left. I'm like, what did you expect, Monet? You left the phones right there in front of them. So Diana's like, I can go get him and, come back. And she was like, 2 hours, girl. We got 2 hours. So as Diana's leaving, she got a text message from Drew with the tutor packet. He's in it, in the text message. It was a picture, and in the caption, it said WTF. So then we see Drew and Everett. So they're playing a video game. Diana comes, knocks on the door. She comes in, and they start talking about the way Tariq is moving the product. Now again, Diana wants to tell Monet, but Drew doesn't want her to tell Monet because he wants to come up there and see his boyfriend. So, Diana leaves and she tells him, like, you need to get home. And that's when Diana went to go see Tariq. So, damn, I didn't realize that this shit was that long. But we almost finished. So, once Diana finally gets home from seeing Tariq, Monet is going off on her. She's like, really what it is with you and Drew is I'm worried about you because you two are so good, you're good people, and she doesn't want them to get hurt. So Diana then tells Monet how Tariq is moving the weight. And, Monet was like, shit, that little nigga is smart. So, and Diana then asked Monet, like, no, Monet asked Diana, like, why are you telling me this? Like, you want me to stop him from, doing it? And, Monet was like, it's not going to happen. So whatever you feel for him, cut that shit. So then Monet texts Ramirez to come over, but I've already talked about Ramirez and Monet. So we see Kane. So Kane got home, and once he got there, Monet is going off on him about Braden and Trace being in his car and all that stuff. And he said, you know what, I had to scare those niggas because Tariq is over there telling them about me. So I just had to try, instill some fear in them. So, Monet is, like I said, going off on him about, she runs the business. This is her business. And he's like, this is my daddy's business. It's his house. And at that point, I'm like, ooh, shit. This is going to be an issue between Monet and them. Like, Kane is going to go rogue. I can see it happening. So Diana and Drew try to stop him, from going off. And he accidentally hit, I don't know if he accidentally hit Monet and knocked her ass down. So he tried to grab her hand and she slapped his hand. So then we see Kane. He went to go talk to Lorenzo. He's telling, him that Monet is just, doing crazy shit. And Lorenzo tells him, well, while I'm in here, she's the boss. We also found out that he's in, Lorenzo is in jail for 25 years and he's only been in jail for 10 years at this point. So basically Lorenzo told Kane, sit your ass down, listen to your mama, watch your mama, so that way when I want you to take over the business, you'll know how to run it. So Kane is getting ready to leave. Now, when I saw Lorenzo, I'm like, ooh, because he was walking by a guard and he looked at him. I'm like, what the fuck they finna do to Kane? So Kane goes to exit. They turn off the cameras and they just start commencing to beating his ass. I mean, beat the shit out that nigga. And Lorenzo came in and told him, don't you ever put your hands on my wife again. And I was like, well, he told you, didn't he? But you guys, that was the episode. It was a good episode. I kind of enjoyed it. But let me know what you guys thought about it. So leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification button so you guys are aware of when I drop anything else. And share this video. And until the next one, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. And socially distance. And I'll see you guys later for Real Housewives of Atlanta and Real Housewives of Potomac. Until then, you guys, bye.